No amount of alcohol is safe. The new proposed guidelines are that Canadians should stick to a maximum of 2 drinks per week in order to reduce their risk of negative health consequences. Yes, that is correct. You heard me right. 2 drinks a week. So this comes after a report was published Monday by the Canadian Centre on Substance Use and Addiction, and they say alcohol, even in small quantities, can be harmful. Dr. Kevin Shield is an independent scientist at the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, and he was involved in the development of these guidelines, and he joins us now. Thanks for your time today, Dr. Shield.
Thanks for having me on.
So I think I want to start by just saying that the current Health Canada guidelines, also created by the CCSA, they say that men should have no more than 3 drinks per day, 15 drinks per week. For women, it's a maximum of 2 drinks a day, 10 drinks per week. So let me ask you, Dr. Shield, what information in this research, what changed this?
So the biggest thing that changed between the guidelines is that the number of studies published on alcohol and heart disease has expanded exponentially. And previously what we thought was that alcohol has a large protective effect on cardiovascular diseases, so things like heart attacks and strokes. But as we get more information, we're finding out that those studies that were previously published have certain flaws that new studies don't. And those new studies haven't found that protective effect that the previous studies have found.
Okay. I'm like 2 drinks a week.
Which that's the part, though, because you just said it was 15 a week up until this new study came out. 15 to 2 is a pretty gigantic jump. I would have thought perhaps, when you talk about moderating, go from 15 to 10 or cut it in half. It almost makes it seem like every other study might have been wrong.
Yeah, so what's really changed in the past 10 years is the ability to control for genetic variants. And we know that some genetic variants affect your ability to drink. So a good example of this would be people who are Asian and flush red. They really can't tolerate alcohol that well, so they actually don't drink as much. But then their risk of heart disease is also different, and that's what we found that was confounding that relationship. So that genetic correlation was really confounding those diseases on alcohol and heart disease. And when you control for that, we found that that protective effect wasn't there. And unfortunately, heart attacks kill a lot of people. And so if that protective effect isn't there, that limit then comes down quite a bit.
I want to ask you to comment on something Dr. Martin Junot. So he's from the Montreal Cardiology Institute. And in La Presse, he was saying, yes, we do normalize alcohol consumption too much here in Quebec. Many of us do drink too much, but he does not agree with this recommendation. In fact, he says, 1 or 2 drinks a week, no one is going to listen to that. It shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all kind of rule that every person is different. I'd love for you to respond to that, Dr. Shield.
So he's absolutely right in that the recommendation of 1 to 2 drinks per week will not go over well with everyone. And that's an ideal situation. So those guidelines say 1 to 2 drinks a week, no more, and that would be the lowest risk category. But if you're drinking 5 drinks a week, if you're drinking 10 drinks a week, if you're drinking 15 drinks a week, any reduction will improve your health. And that's what we're looking for, is we're just looking to advise people on reducing their alcohol consumption so that they can improve their health. And if that's 15 to 10 drinks a week, so going from 15 down to 10, that's great. And that's going to really improve your health. So that 1 to 2 is a target, but not necessarily achievable by everyone.
You're lowballing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, well, which is the same kind of approach they took with smoking, right? They said, okay, we know it's not good to smoke a pack a day. If you could cut down to half a pack, and yes, every cigarette is bad for you, it might kill you or give you lung cancer. It seems to me the same approach.
Yeah, exactly. So we're trying to make people healthier. We know that the lowest risk category is 1 to 2 drinks a week, but any reduction helps.
Could you talk to us specifically about the kinds of cancers that it seem to be at an increased risk with alcohol consumption?
So this is a really good topic because a lot of people don't know alcohol is a carcinogen. And when they hear that alcohol is a carcinogen, they think of all the carcinogens out there where there's a slight relationship between alcohol consumption and cancer. But that's not the case for alcohol, actually. There's a very large relationship between alcohol and cancer. A recent study published by The Lancet just found that alcohol is the second leading cause of cancer deaths globally, just behind tobacco. So it causes a lot of cancer globally and in Canada. So it causes cancers of the digestive tract and the breast, and that can cause a lot of harms to Canadians. In fact, if you look at breast cancer alone, it causes about 15% of breast cancer cases each year, so a substantial portion of them.
Okay, now people are hearing this, and we brought this up before because I remember we had a study maybe a year or so ago talking about red meat, of course, being a carcinogen, and people kind of looked at that and go, well, I'm not going to stop eating red meat, and I imagine the same will happen here with people saying, well, I'm not going to stop drinking altogether. Maybe I'll lower my consumption. But beyond that, when you present a study like this, you know you're going to get that kind of pushback, right? I mean, that's kind of par for the course. Where, if you had to, and maybe this is an unfair question to ask, if you had to say to someone, look, we know you're not going to stop drinking, even though here are studies to show you that it's not good for you, where would your safe limit be? Do we have to say it's got to be at those two? Could it be 4 or 5? Would that be okay?
Yeah, so if you wanted to consume, let's say, between 3 and 6, you're going to be at an elevated risk of diseases, but, it increases exponentially after that. So if you're at, let's say, 2 a day now, cutting down to 1 a day, you'll see a huge improvement in health. So assess where you are now and where you could be, and any reduction helps. So reductions are okay, just don't increase.
Okay, excellent. Pal. Thank you so much. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at
He's
you.
Looking
1
at
a day,
me.
pal. 1 a day.
I do not drink more than 1 a day, except maybe on Fridays. All right, Dr. Shields. Great information. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. That's Dr. Kevin Shield, independent scientist at the CMH's Institute for Mental Health Policy Research.